Hello, I'm Shirin Merchant. Over the past 18 years that I have been working with pet parents and dogs across the globe, I have learned a lot about canine behavior, and I'm going to share some of my knowledge with you in this presentation. In today's fast-paced world, we lead pressured lives, whether it is at work, with deadlines to meet, or even a difficult boss, or at home with children that drive you crazy, or even when traveling. We just can't seem to escape stress. But just like us, dogs can get stressed too. Most of us are so busy getting stressed that we fail to notice how easily we pass on our stress onto our dogs. At this point, you're going to think, this isn't a topic you are interested in because your dog leads a relaxed life and cannot possibly be stressed. But think again. Research shows that in an increasing number of cases, dogs are suffering from stress and burnout. In fact, when working with dogs that have behavior problems, I have observed that there is an underlying stress that is contributing to the problem behavior. And often when we remove that source of stress, a lot of the behavior issues disappear on their own. So what can cause a dog to get stressed? Well, dogs like us tend to get stressed in situations where they feel they cannot cope. Things like we take for granted, like a car ride, a doggy play date, the arrival of a guest, living in a small flat in the city, only being exercised on the leash and never being free to run outdoors, can actually all contribute to stress in a dog. So now let's take a look at some of the common reasons how we stress our dogs out. The first reason we look at is domestic upheaval. A dog that lives in a house where there are constant fights between the people, or there is a loss of a job, or even a sick family member. All these situations can lead to tension at home that spills over into your dog. I have also seen cases where there are exams, the death of a family member, a wedding, a divorce, a new baby. They've all caused the dog to become anxiety-ridden. Sometimes even a dog that is rehomed from one place to another can get unsettled and tense. So what would be the signs of stress if this was a situation for the dog? Normally, the dog can cope if it's short-term stress, but if the tension lasts for a long time, the dog can become nervous, can become depressed, it can hide when the situation is worse, it might even stop eating and playing. Sometimes the dog takes out the stress through hyperactive behavior, just like in kids. He releases all the pent-up energy by being destructive, overactive, bounding all over the place, jumping, and generally being in a highly frenzied state. In some cases, the dog can become reactive to sights and sounds that he was previously okay with, and snap and lose his temper at the slightest provocation. When there is any abrupt change of behavior in an adult dog, my first option is to send the dog to the vet to get any medical causes ruled out. The second situation I would look at is the environment in the dog's home. So if your dog is stressed out, often in a home where there is a lot of turmoil, following a strict routine for the dog can help reduce the animal's stress. In addition, give your dog plenty of exercise And try, most importantly try and repair the situation at home if possible. It's common knowledge that a dog subjected to pain, intimidation, cruel tools such as choke chains, prong collars, shock collars can of course all cause stress in a dog. But did you also know that constantly tugging on the dog's leash when you take him for a walk, shouting at him all the time, sit, come, down, can all cause stress in a dog? In this situation, most dogs will absorb the stress for a while before finally reacting to the pressure. Some dogs react defensively by either biting the trainer or the owner. Others withdraw into a shell, refusing to obey, refusing to train, cowering when commanded, or by carrying out the behavior really slowly. All these would be signs of stress. Sometimes, as you can see in the picture, even though the dogs obey, they are doing it with a lot of tension. Look at the picture closely. See the ears, they're pinned back. The shoulders are drooping. The head is held low. And there's an anxious look on the faces of these dogs. These are not happily trained dogs. These are dogs that are worried that if they do not listen, they will be hurt. So what would be the solution? It's simple, isn't it? When there are kinder training methods in the world today, there's never a reason or an excuse to hit or intimidate a dog. Training is all about building a bond and a friendship with your dog. It should result in the dog trusting you, not fearing you. And never allow anyone to convince you that they need to hurt your dog in the name of training. The next cause we look at is confinement. I often have people calling me and asking me, how long can I tie my dog up for at home? How long can I put him in a crate? And my answer to them is, why do you want to do that? Remember, dogs are free-roaming animals, and when confined for long periods of time, they can develop stress-related behaviors. While it is okay to restrain or confine your dog for a brief period of time, long periods can cause a dog to exhibit either simple anxiety-related behaviors like excessive barking, pacing up and down, excessive panting, urinating all over itself, or even in serious cases, you can have a dog that gets depressed and develop self-destructive behaviors. It can start tail chasing, self-mutilation, like obsessively licking its paws, and in some cases, even banging its head against the kennel. So, how could we reduce the stress? Before we look at that, I'd first want to ask you, why are you confining or restraining the dog? Is it because he's naughty and destructive? In which case, give your dog plenty of exercise and play games with him. Don't leave him home alone for long periods of time, thinking he can sit in the crate all day long and be fine. You can't do that with the dog. You will see behavior issues down the road. If you keep your dog in a kennel, make sure he goes out plenty of times in a day. And when he's inside, keep him busy with lots of games, toys, so that he doesn't develop any problems out of boredom. And also ensure he gets plenty of time to interact with people. Here you're going to ask me, what really is the definition of an overbearing pet parent? Well, an owner who's constantly shouting at the dog, punishing him, disciplining the dog all the time, making the dog do things the way he wants it done. Sometimes, with a sensitive dog, you can cause a lot of damage to the dog's mental well-being. Most people presume that physical correction is the only way to correct unwanted behavior. A sharp tug on the choke chain, rubbing a dog's nose in its mess, hitting the dog with a rolled up newspaper, or smacking it on the rump can cause an animal to become very anxious and even fearful. What you can often see is the dog will react to the stress in many ways. It might make an effort to protect itself by turning aggressive and lunging at people, or it may turn into a nervous wreck. The dog will cower when approached, roll over on its back, and may even urinate all over itself. It isn't carrying out all these behaviors to spite you. It's only showing submission in an effort to reduce the owner's aggressive behavior. So how can we reduce the stress? Well, the basic thing is shouting at an animal, constantly punishing it, gets no results. Instead, why don't you try a reward and praise good behavior? Learn how to communicate with your dog. If for any reason you are frustrated with your dog's behavior and you can't seem to put it right, contact a good trainer who can help you rectify the problems without the use of aggression. Please stay away from people that will insist on starving your dog or hitting it or putting on a choke chain, because that's the only way they think it's the way done. Stay away from such people. As your dog's owner, it's your duty to ensure your dog is never bullied or hurt by anyone else. So most people here ask me, how can I make sure whether my dog is going through this stress or not? Most of you will be quick to react after this video by going over, looking at your dog and saying, oh my God, you're stressed. So how can we tell whether a dog is stressed or not? Dogs often tend to carry out simple repetitive behaviors when stressed, called displacement behaviors. These behaviors are designed to reduce the stress that the dog is going through. Yet few of us recognize these signs. Most of us think we have a difficult, stupid, or obstinate pet. However, if a dog is subjected to long-term stress, the problems can grow. So here are some of the signs. If you see your dog excessively panting, and there's no reason for him to be panting, it isn't hot, he hasn't just finished an exercise session, then take a look at the situation and see what could be stressing your dog out. Sometimes, when the dog is stressed and does not know how to react, sniffing of the ground helps him cope with that situation. He's not really sniffing a smell, he's pretending to sniff because the behavior helps make him feel better. If you see a dog repeatedly licking its lips, flicking its tongue over its nose, take a look at the situation. Often it's stress that causes this behavior. A dog that yawns excessively, if you go to any vet clinic and sit, you'll often see signs of this behavior. Excessive yawning, that's a sign of stress. A dog that barks too much could be a dog that's stressed out. And if your dog is itching a lot and you can't seem to find any physical reason behind that, then take a look at the environment. The important part we need to remember all through is try and learn to hear what the dogs are speaking to us. If we learn to speak their language, it gives them a happier life. It gives us a happier life too with them.